down on matted hair, dirty laughing face, ragged clothes. "Well," she said to the heckler, "I never said I could count, unless it be the coppers you toss me." A sly-looking man in tight hose joined her on the steps. "I saves me coppers for them what entertains me." Boldly, he snaked an arm around the girl and drew her snugly against him. She slapped her hands against her cheeks in mock surprise. "Sir, your codpiece flatters my vanity." The clink of coins punctuated a spate of laughter. A fat man near the girl held 3 flaming torches aloft. "6pence says you can't juggle 'em." "9pence says I can, sure as Queen Elizabeth's white arse sits upon the throne," hollered the girl, deftly catching the torches and tossing them into motion. Aidan guided his horse closer still. The huge Florentine mare he christened Granier earned a few dirty looks and muttered curses from people she nudged out of the way, but none challenged Aidan. Although the Londoners couldn't know he was O'Donoghue Moore of Ross Castle, they seemed to sense that he and his horse were not a pair to be trifled with. Perhaps it was the prodigious size of the horse, perhaps it was the dangerous wintry blue of the rider's eyes, but most likely it was the naked blade of the short sword strapped to his thigh. He left his massive escort milling outside the churchyard and passing the time by intimidating the Londoners. When he drew close to the street urchin, she was juggling the torches. The flaming brands formed a whirling frame for her grinning, sooty face. She was an odd Colleen, looking as if she had been stitched together from leftovers, wide eyes and wider mouth, button nose, and spiky hair better suited to a boy. She wore a chemise without a bodice, drooping canyon trews, and boots so old they might have been relics of the last century. Yet her maker had, by some foible, gifted her with the most dainty and deft pair of hands Aidan had ever seen. Round and round went the torches, and when she called for another, it joined the spinning circle with ease. Hand to hand she passed them, faster and faster. The big-bellied man then tossed her a shiny red apple. She laughed and said, "Hey, Dove, you don't fear I'll tempt a man to sin?" Her companion guffawed. "I like me wenches made of more than gristle and bad jests, Pippa girl." She took no offence, and while Aidan silently mouthed the strange name, someone tossed a dead fish into the spinning mix. Aidan cringed, but the girl called Pippa took the new challenge in stride. "Seems I've caught one of your relatives, Mort," she said to the man who procured the fish. The crowd roared its approval. A few red-heeled gentlemen dropped coins upon the steps. Even after a fortnight in London, Aidan could ill understand the Sassenach. They would as lief toss coins to a street performer as see her hanged for vagrancy. He felt something rub his leg and looked down. A sleepy-looking whore curved her hand around his thigh, fingers inching toward the horn-handled dagger tucked into the top of his boot. With a dismissive smile, Aidan removed the whore's hand. "You'll find naught but ill fortune there, mistress." She drew back her lips in a sneer. The French pox had begun to rot her gums. "Irish," she said, backing away. "Chaste as a priest, eh?" Before he could respond, a high-pitched mew split the air and the mare's ears pricked up. Aidan spied a half-grown cat flying through the air toward Pippa. "Juggle that!" a man shouted, howling with laughter. "Cheese you," she said. Her hands seemed to be working of their own accord, keeping the object spinning even as she tried to step out of range of the flying cat. But she caught it and managed to toss it from one hand to the next before the terrified creature leaped onto her head and clung there, claws sinking into the battered hat. The hat slumped over the juggler's eyes, blinding her. Torches, apple, and fish all clattered to the ground. The skinny man called Mort stomped out the flames. The fat man called Dove tried to help but trod instead upon the slimy fish. He skated forward, sleeves ripping as his pudgy arms cartwheeled. Just as he lost his balance, his flailing fist slammed into a spectator who immediately threw himself into the brawl. With shouts of glee, others joined the fisticuffs. It was all Aidan could do to keep the mare from rearing. Still blinded by the cat, the girl stumbled forward, hands outstretched. She caught the end of a bookseller's cart. Cat and hat came off as one, and the crazed feline climbed a sack of tomes, toppling them into the mud of the churchyard. "Imbecile!" the bookseller screeched, lunging at Pippa. Dove had taken on several opponents by now. With a wet thwap, he slapped one across the face with the dead fish. Pippa grasped the end of the cart and lifted. The remaining book slid down and slammed into the bookseller, knocking him backward to the ground. "Where's my 9pence?" she demanded, surveying the steps. People were too busy brawling to respond. She snatched up a stray copper and shoved